Yeah, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. Well, gosh, I just didn't think it was good enough to send out. Hey everybody, Geraldine Rose here with a redo on a thank you card for a crafty friend. Hey everybody, Geraldine Rose here with take number 2 on a thank you card for a crafty friend. Again, using the Spellbinder's Corner Sunflower Better Press Plate. And again, doing the colors for the Color Throwdown Challenge, which for this week are yellow, brown, and green. You can see I dabbed the colors on the Better Press Plate, reversed it in the other direction to get the other corner, grabbed out my sentiment using that matte gold metallic cardstock again with the Alt New Sweet Expressions. The second and third layers, I'm using some mustard seed oxide spray on it to match it up a little bit better with the metallic gold. Now grabbing out my shimmer spritz. This one is the Twisted Citron, and I'm just matching it to how those Better Press plates go across each of the corners. So the spritz missing going, okay, no, I need a little bit more. And when this dried, the greeny gold on it is amazing. Honeybee, lovely layers, sunflower, because yellow is the color for this week, one of the colors, and everybody seemed to be doing so many sunflower cards because, of course, they have the brown centers. Squishing out some of my oxides in different tones of yellow there, giving them a little spritz with the water. I'm going to do some ink smooshing here. As you can see, we all know how to do this part, and I did dry in between each layer with my heat gun. Now that they're done, I'm bringing in some of the sprays and some of the mica sprays on top. I'm using the darker colors for the back layers of this, and then redabbing little sections, of course, just to add texture. Let's see. I think we're still spritzing on mica sprays there. Oh, yes. Oh, we need more texture on the front. So we're obsessed with solar paste, and hey, some of the paper glitzes. So let's get out the golden hour and the daffodil yellow again. And I thought, okay, I'll do something a little bit different. So I'm just going to try dabbing the edge of the petals with this and get them to dry. It's a very different effect. Not many people do this. I didn't want to use a stencil across the front of it like I've done with some other cards, scraping the last little bit of that. And of course, it's all mixed together, but I can use it for another project in a little container I had. And while it was still wet, you can see I sprinkled on some embossing glazes there. I used the yellows that I had and a little bit, I think it was walnut stain that I've got in the brown. Okay, so while those are all drying, before I heat gun them to set the embossing glaze, I'm getting to the centers of the sunflower. So we're pulling out the brown tones here. And can you hear that? So that needs a little effect. It's like a little hummingbird. Giving them a little bit of interest, spritzing on, I think that was the rusty hinge on that one. All right, these are a little bit better for being dried, and I've heat gunned them so that the embossing glazes have melted now. Got a little bit of bubbling, but I like that, so I don't mind doing that. And here is where I'm gluing together the centers, and at this point I was like, oh, they're a little dry, but okay, just think on that. Okay, you could put a little bit of the walnut stain shimmer spritz on it. That didn't do it enough, so I'm like, crackle glaze. Of course it darkens up everything when you put on it, and you can see it just reactivates all the depth on your oxide inks and on your oxide sprays and the mica sprays and the shimmer sprays when you put it over top. And because it was the crackle one, I kind of spread it so that it still had some of the other dry spots underneath it. That I am using the Pink Fresh Folk Edge frame to cut out another gold frame around it, kind of to match what was going on with the first card that I'm going to send this lady. That is for you. Okay, so I've got that cut out. I ran it through my Big Shot again with a dryer sheet to get a little bit of texture on it. It's the coolest thing. All right, and we decided that we need leaves because we need to bring a little bit more green in. So here I am getting some ink on those guys. And now we're going to do the water droplets because that's what we love doing with oxides, right? Drying them off here. I think I'm going to give them a little spray. Yes, we are. We're spraying them. This was probably... I can't see what that was. It's a green. Just grab a green out, guys. Nina cardstock. Love this stuff. So got out my Score Buddy, or my equivalent of a Score Buddy. I think it's the We Are Memory Makers one. And My Nina, I always have to chop a little bit off the one edge because my whole ream is off. So that's why I was making certain everything was straight. This is the Catherine Pooler Crafty Friends sentiment for the inside. So Beth, I'm not going to sign this card. This is a good one, but you can do whatever you want with this one. Maybe you can send it out to someone else if you think it's good enough. So I ombre'd the inside effect there with the sentiments. Here we're chopping down those green leaves and tucking them in strategically so that they form like a circle so that it directs your eye around. And I'm going to bring the focal point in, which is the thanks right in the middle, so that the leaves and the direction of the better press plates in the background frame it up. Scissors, because we can't have the petals sticking out over the edge. Very carefully cutting this because there was many layers, and of course it's a lot harder to get through it. My tonic guillotine cutter won't go through that many layers. Here, putting down the thanks sentiment over top of its background, and I used some of the spare better press stuff that I had with the pattern on it and put a little bit of a green wash over top of it to bring in ink to kind of make it stand out a little bit better. You can see how much the panel is curled there, right? I put so much glue on that when it dries, it's causing it to kind of curl up. So I've learned now when my panels are drying to curve them in the opposite direction and then to put acrylic plates over either end, and it causes them to actually straighten out. Using some of my powder here because I'm going to be doing some embossing. This is the Pink Fresh Thanks sentiments, and this is a really fine one. So I'm doing it once with Versamark, and I'm going to come in and do it again because you don't want to squish them down too much when you've got one that's got this much detail. Grabbing out some of the gold embossing powder here, tucking that down, shaking off, and I'll make certain here that I haven't got anything that is sticking in spots it's not supposed to be. So embossing, of course, using one of my little banner die cuts to cut it out, and then of course I shifted it to get the square on the other side because it was too long. I also decided to put crackle glaze around the outside of this. That's why I'm nudging this into spots so fussily, because it's actually not dry yet and I didn't want to smudge it. Some Pretty Pink Posh latte pearls, the coffee ones. I thought, hey, that'll go great with this card, right? With bringing the brown in. And there it is. This one's a lot better. It's all shimmery and goodness, and it's a lot happier. So I'm going to send this off for this person that did a really kind thing for me. You all go out and be that change you want to see in the world again. And I'll see you next time. Okay? Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.